Spike Lee, you co-wrote, directed, and produced *To Five Bloods* about Black Vietnam veterans returning to the country to retrieve their fallen squad leader and a stash of gold. Your films have reckoned with American society and often the broken promises of American society throughout your career. What made you want to explore that from the vantage point of the Vietnam War?
Well, it's another one of the wars where black soldiers fought and died for a country that has not showed love to them. So you go from Christmas addicts, who was the first American to die in the Revolutionary War at the Boston Massacre, till today, So, and I just like to deal with, what's the mind state of these soldiers who are putting their lives on the line for democracy, peace and love and justice, and they're not receiving that since we got here, 1619.
And so much of that comes through in the Paul character played by Delroy Lindo. His post-traumatic stress, his trauma from those years, and being a Trump supporter in the present day. There's such a tragic figure and such a complicated figure. Like, what made you want to make that sort of the focal point of this kind of story?
Well, it's a very simple answer, my friend, is that when you're in a war, in a battle, the guy or woman to your left or right, there are bonds that are forged that are going to take to your grave. There's a bond there. But I had to come up with something that the love would still be there, but there's friction now because they haven't really seen each other as a group since they were in Nam. So the thing I thought of that could bring the most strife and despair to the group will be one of them to be a card carrying member of the Legion of Agent Orange, a Trumpster. And that did it.
And it's so fascinating to look at this film under the lens of everything even that's happened in the months since the film was released on Netflix. Like, how do you feel like that character and the film as a whole, the way it looks at the kind of contradictions of American democracy, kind of reflects the world we're in right now?
Well, this country has a complex history. The United States of America was built upon a very shaky foundation. When you're building a building, you want the foundation to be strong, to be correct. But that's not the case. This country was built upon the stealing of the land from the Native Americans, coupled with the genocide of the Native Americans, coupled with the enslavement of my ancestors. Those things all together made America the power it is today.
And in telling this story, you have you make an interesting choice of having the actors who play the Bloods in the present day also play them in the flashbacks, and I thought it was such an effective way of showing how kind of their memories are filtered through who they are presently, and it kind of creates that level of almost otherworldliness and mythologize this experience that they had in their own minds. What was that decision like to do that with the same actors, no de-aging?
Well, number one is the practical choice, And a lot like my long career, I had to turn negative into positives. We were not going to get the money to do the de-aging. Also, we're shooting in the jungle of Thailand, 100 degrees every day, and the makeup appliances would have melted off their face. So, with knowing that, I still felt that the audience is very intelligent, and they will understand after the first scene where they see these guys playing the younger selves, that they will get it. That in their mind, they're going back to the young teenagers they were when they were shipped around the world to fight in a moral war.
And the heat obviously being one of them. But what were some of the other like logistical challenges of making this film on location in Thailand and Vietnam? Just kind of getting what you wanted from this film and in every way possible.
Well, to get what I wanted would not be in the back lot. We had to get on a plane and fly halfway around the world. And any hardships that we came upon, they would be not something that's going to be insurmountable. It was like we had a mission, we had a job, we're professionals, and to finish, we were built for it.
And the cast is so important in this film, nominated for a SAG award for that ensemble, with just Delroy Lindo and Jonathan Majors, Norm Lewis, just so many great actors in the film. What was that casting process like to assemble this group of men, especially the Bloods, who were like have such a long history and this complex journey together?
Well, when I think of the ensemble group, I don't only think about the Bloods. You know, Jean Reno, Melanie Thierry, a wonderful, wonderful, fantastic Vietnamese actors, Paul Hauser, Jasper. We just had phenomenal cast, phenomenal ensemble, and I gotta give a shout out to Kim Coleman, my longtime casting director, and people came through.
And Delroy Lindo is especially such a focal point of this film. You've worked with him several times before. How is it creating this character with him and the intensity of this role, and also the deep pain that's underlying what he's going through?
Delroy did a lot of research, talked to a lot of soldiers, Vietnam Bloods, who were still, even today, not right. But even before that, he's a great actor. So he knew what he had to do. And he did the damn thing. That was he knew what he had to do and he delivered.
Yeah, and one of my colleagues, Zach Laws, was just tweeting. He's trying to nominate Delroy Lindo hashtag a thing for the next couple of weeks, because we're staunch partisans for Delroy Lindo at this point.
Well, thank you for doing that, because there have been some folks, organizations that I guess they hadn't seen the Five Bloods.
Yes, I did notice certain organizations who seemed not to have noticed that a lot of films by certain filmmakers and starring certain people were a thing.
But here's the thing, though. Whether Delroy gets nominated or not, which I hope he does, the work stands. That is a great performance. And sometimes these organizations, these voting bodies, for whatever reason, they overlook monumental work. But the work, award or no awards, will stand the test of time.
And at Gold Derby we cover awards year round, and so knowing as much as we know about awards, you can't not be ambivalent about them. But it is, this year it does feel a little bit, at least from my perspective, encouraging that there's not just the Five Bloods. There are so many films, from Black filmmakers with Black actors in it, Black producers, that not only got made but are critically acclaimed and are being considered and recognized in this kind of this award season. Does it feel like the industry is opening up in ways that it hadn't in the past?
Well, I gotta be like, I don't, be from Missouri. You got to show me, because historically, since I've been a filmmaker, we've had these times before where there's a whole slew of films by Black filmmakers, about Black subject matter, Black actors, and the newspapers, the press start writing about there's there's a revival and this and that, and then there's a 9 year, 10 year drought. So I'm in a wait and see mode. I do hope it's not a trend, it's not a fad, it's something's going to be with us. And before you were talking about, Oscar, there's new films, new filmmakers. I'm so proud of two of my former students, Chloe and Shaka, with their films, and happy for them, very very happy, and it just goes to show you, to prove once again, the best film school in the world is NYU, specifically NYU grad film,
Yeah, and
because we're kicking much butt.
and it's really exciting to see like films like by Chloe Zhao and so many people getting attention. And you're right, it's kind of the proof is in the pudding with are things improving? Because one of the it's 2021, and you look at a statistic that's still a little like unsettling in terms of where we are now. Like if and or Lee Daniels are nominated for Best Director, you'd be the first Black directors nominated twice in the history of the Oscars.
Well, here's the thing, though. You could get you could get tripped up if you think about the first, because before Lee Daniels and myself, there was Oscar Michaud, Gordon Parks, Melvin Van Peebles, Ozzie Davis. So we're not the first. We're here because the groundwork has been done. It's just not, we just showed up and shit started.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons things have the potential to open up is you have so many different avenues of production and distribution.
Yeah, streaming is really, excuse me, streaming has really made a difference, giving everybody more doors to knock on. And the more doors there are, the more possibilities. Those doors, those doors won't be slammed in your face.
Is it a different experience, making a film for a streaming service, or is it just kind of another door to knock on another avenue of, to get people to see your film?
Well, let's talk about this film, The Five Bloods. Before the world changed, the world premiere for Five Bloods was going to be in the Cannes Film Festival, where I'm going to be the president of the jury. Then we're going to have a limited theatrical run. So we were gonna have a theatrical run anyway from the beginning. But as I said before, the world changed. But I have to give a shout out again to Netflix, Ted, Scott, and Tendo, because if it wasn't for them, it would have been very, very hard to get this film made.
And
they came through like gangbusters.
And I imagine it must be, since the pandemic, just, the creative environment of filmmaking is so different and challenging right now. Vaccines going out, fingers crossed that the world gets a little bit better. I don't know if back to normal is ever going to be exactly the way it was.
Now we go when anything ends, we gotta not go back to normal. We gotta improve. Exactly, yeah. I think so, and where we were.
Yeah, it definitely showed a lot of the cracks that were already there, and I half joke to myself when it was happening. It's like in this pandemic, we could either make the choice to go in the Mad Max route or in the Star Trek kind of idealized future route. And I'm not sure a lot of our leaders made the right choices, but I hope our artists are making good choices.
Well, I mean, here we are. And what was it yesterday, the day before, the states of Texas and Mississippi declared that masks are no longer needed.
Yeah, it's
and then
wild.
before that, Texas has been off the grid, and you saw what happened with that. People died. And I just think that it's too often where people die in this country because the powers that be get on bended knee and pray before the almighty dollar. And that thing is like, if people gotta die, I gotta make my money.
It's a scary world we're in, but I appreciate the work that you're doing, that you've done throughout your career and continue to do. Congratulations again on the Five Bloods. Fingers crossed for recognition for this film that it deserves. But regardless,
here's the thing, though. We're gonna be, and I'm speaking on behalf on Delroy, the whole cast in front of and behind the camera. Whatever results are, we're good. Whatever happens, whatever shakes out, this film is to be looked at for many, many, many years to come. And I've had personal experiences like that.
Yes.
I'll name one. Do the right thing.
Yeah, you have a history of being ahead of the curve, and hopefully the curve is starting to catch up with you. Thank you so much for talking.
That is the hope. Thank you, man. Take care. Be safe.
You too.